going on, everybody? Hope you're all doing fine. I just finished my assessment session on the good old hangboard boy. As you can see, I dropped the training clothes, I hopped into the more cozy stuff, so let's check it out. I made a recording of it, of course. I wanted to just simply review it here on the laptop and share some thoughts, share some thought process behind the schedule and everything. Let's jump right into it. As you know, if you've been following the channel recently, I completed finally my repeater cycle by doing this one session at over 70 kilograms. So it's time to move on to something else, but any good athlete wants to be able to track progress, and in climbing, where progress is hardly trackable, right? This is especially important. So that's why we make these assessment sessions, record a couple of numbers, and then we do a new experiment, and then we repeat the assessment session to see whether the numbers increased or whether they dropped, whether the experiment was successful or not, right? What the experiment is gonna be, I'm gonna share that as well at the end of the video, I think. But let's jump right into it, I would say. I started as usual with a mobilizing routine. Very important, get your tendons, get your joints and everything lubricated so that you don't hurt yourself, when hangboarding. This is something that I would always recommend, especially as you get older, which unfortunately occurs sometimes. So yeah, I've got a couple of warm-up pull-ups here, very simple stuff, just simply the biggest beastmaker holds, the smaller beastmaker edges, at 3 fingers open as well as half crimp. Yeah, this is the main two grip types, I would say, that I'm gonna test out during this assessment on various different holds, but it's gonna be essentially the 3 fingers open and the 4 fingers half crimp. Yeah, also some 2 fingers open stuff, but yeah, you're gonna see anyway. So in terms of training weight, we are at 66.0 kilograms today, yeah, which is not super heavy, it's not super light either, but yeah, good middle ground there. Some of the holds, some of the hangs that I'm gonna do call for bonus weight. In this particular case, 10.8 kilograms of bonus weight and 6.8 kilograms of bonus weight. These numbers are simply due to the kinds of weights that I have available on my weight belt here. Yeah, so this is not something that you have to, in case you want to do this as well, you don't have to replicate that 100%. Yeah, you can do something else yourself. As you can see, I already tried here the first recorded hang, which is the left hand one-handed hang on the middle beastmaker edge, where I failed pretty miserably actually. Here on the second try it's already better. I think I get 1 second here, roughly 1 second, as you can see, and this was the best record for this hang, so that's what I'm gonna note. Yeah, as you can see, my schedule calls for 2 tries on these middle beastmaker edges. Right hand seems to be a lot better. I'm getting to 3.5, something along these lines, seconds here. This is something that goes to the record as well, because that's gonna be, I think that was my best hang on the right hand there. Now I did maybe do a little bit of a mistake when hanging the right hand on the middle beastmaker edge one-handed, and that is that I did not stop my rotation. Yeah? And for me it's like, if I'm in this in-between state of strength where I already can hang the edge quite solidly but not super solidly, then I always get this kind of rotation in, and you can actually stop that by touching something solid with your other hand, yeah? And then you might be able to get like, I don't know, 1 second more of hanging in. So I didn't do that now, I have to remember that, so that when we repeat the assessment session, I do not do it as well, yeah? So that I can keep everything comparable. Now this is actually, I think, the longest hang of this assessment session, which is on the small beastmaker edges, 4 fingers half crimp with 10.8 kilograms of bonus weight. I think that puts me at 116% of training weight today. And as you can see, it goes really long. It's beyond 30 seconds. I think it was 39 seconds or something, yeah. So, as you can see here, when you look at the schedule, and this is something that I want to emphasize here as well very much, it's very timed. Yeah? Everything is timed very, very accurately, and in such a way that I only have to start my stopwatch in the beginning of the session, and then everything is timed out. I have every rest timed, every hang especially is timed. Yeah, so the resting times kind of depend on how successful you are on some of these hangs. If you're super successful, then you get a little bit of less resting time. Yeah, so it's gonna be a little bit harder than if you just, but still the resting times are timed in such a way. I think, for example, especially after this super long small Beastmaker edges hang now, I did time them in such a way, I think that I get after that at least 2 minutes rest. Yeah, I think even more than 2 minutes rest. Of course, I did not hang like over a minute or something, then it would be less than 2 minutes rest, but I knew already, okay, that's gonna be a long hang, so I have to give myself a bit of time until the next hang comes. Yeah, so essentially this is how I put some thought process into the schedule. The hangs where I thought, okay, I'm gonna be longer, I'm gonna be successful for a longer time, I'm gonna give myself more rest afterwards. Yeah, so this was another one of these longer hangs, 30 seconds on the 10mm micros with, what was it? 6.8 kilograms of bonus weight. Yeah, and another thing that I wanted to, so this is another number that I'm gonna record. Yeah, as you can see, I always do it like second go. Yeah, so if I test my 10mm micro performance, I precede that with a 10mm micro hang at 6.8 kilograms of bonus weight for 5 seconds. Yeah, just to get my fingertips used to the 10mm micros. And then I'm gonna do like 55 seconds rest, as you can see here according to the schedule, and then I go for the as long as possible. Yeah? The reason for that is that we always need at least one hang, I have the feeling, to get accustomed to a certain grip type, to a certain hold type, that is. Yeah? So that's why I always precede my as long as possible hangs, which I'm gonna record, which is where the actual substance of this assessment is. I precede that by a warm-up hang, so to speak, of 5 seconds, or another hang of as long as possible, if it's gonna be very unsuccessful, very likely. So now we're at 17 minutes here already, and I have to get back into my schedule to see where I am actually. So that's 8mm micros for as long as possible. And I kind of missed how long they were, but you have seen it probably. So we had 19 minutes at 6mm micros for as long as possible. As you can see, I failed pretty miserably here, maybe 1 second or something, because I was not used to such small edges yet. But as you can see, just by doing it once, you're already getting so much into the grip type, into the hold type, that on my second go here, as you can see, it's already 3, 4, 5, I think it was 6 seconds. Bam, just on the kettlebell there. Super painful hang there as well, especially after this super long bonus weight hang on the small Beastmaker edges and on the 10mm micros. These really wrecked my fingertips, and then the 6mm micros was super painful actually. But as you have seen, super important that you do a first set, a first rep of just getting used to the hold, and then afterwards, with a relatively short resting period, you go for your as long as possible hang, and that's what you're gonna record. That's what you wanna improve on the way to your next assessment session. So now actually all the 4 fingers half crimp hangs are completed. We're moving on to the 3-finger drag, and here I'm actually going for my radius edges. I've shown these edges a couple of times already. These are, I think, super practical for training 3 fingers open. Why? If you have edges like the small Beastmaker edges, for example, they are very juggy. They are very, they pull your skin a lot. So if you're not completely strong and you're hanging super actively, you're hanging with a little bit of friction as well, it's a very high chance that you actually pull your skin open and get flappers and stuff like that. And this is prevented by these radius edges. I really like them a lot. You can go to the hardware store probably and get pieces of wood that look like this, and you just simply cut them and slap them on your hangboard. These in particular are 2 cm radius, and I think this is the plus 6.8 kilograms of bonus weight hang there, which I got like 14 seconds or something. Not so bad actually. I would have guessed that it's gonna be a lot lower than that. Now comes the 1.5 centimeter radius edge for as long as possible. I figured it's not gonna be a long hang anyway, so I go already for as long as possible on my first try, which might have been a little bit of a mistake. Maybe I should have placed that one on 5 seconds as well, because I got actually 9 seconds on it, and it could be that this costed me a couple of seconds now on the second try. this is something that you always want to keep in mind. If you get a lot beyond 5 seconds, well, then limit yourself to 5 seconds so that you can preserve the energy for your second attempt. As you can see on my second attempt, I got now 11 seconds. Who knows, if I would have only gone for 5 seconds on my first attempt, and then maybe I could have gone for 13 seconds on my second attempt, yeah, if I would have limited myself. Doesn't really matter, we just keep the schedule and perform just the same schedule the next assessment session and see whether we improve or not. This is the thing, right? If you just simply keep everything the same, it doesn't really matter if you do with some certain, maybe small minor scheduling mistakes in strategy. You just simply have to repeat your mistakes the second assessment session, and you're gonna still see whether you improved or not upon these certain grip types. So now we're already at 30 minutes in. That's 2 centimeter radius edge for as long as possible with the 2-finger drag. And this was actually super hard. Yeah? I would have estimated, I mean, I slipped, I should say, from the edge there. I would have estimated that I can only hang like 5 seconds max on this. But as you can see, I don't really use any more warm-up hangs here a lot, because I have the impression that when I do a lot of 3 fingers open hangs, I kind of at the same time warm up my 2 fingers open as well. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter if I do additional warm-up hangs there anymore. And then I tried these very, very bad 2-finger pocket Beastmaker 2000 2-finger pockets there. They kind of slopey inside. I had absolutely no chance to hang them whatsoever. So it's gonna be interesting whether I improve on those by the Emil method in some sort of way. I plan to also incorporate 2-finger hangs like Emil did during his regimen. But yeah, I'll see whether that actually yields something. And then finally, of course, I also had to test the monos. Here I also might have done the mistake that I have not limited myself to 5 seconds for my first try. That's why the first try got a lot of seconds, actually. I think 14 or something it was. And still, I had the impression that it was rather pain that limited myself to go even further. I don't know if it was fully the strength there. Second attempt was a lot worse, as far as I remember, because it hurt just so much more on the second attempt already, yeah, than the monos. So yeah, that's essentially how the assessment went. I feel that it gives a good picture of where I'm standing at the moment, and I'm looking forward to improving these numbers. Okay, not so bad. Something stronger than I expected, something's weaker than I expected. So that's where we stand. Looking forward to the Emil method. I think today I'm gonna rest a little, and then I'm gonna do another home wall session because the day is quite ugly outside. And then tomorrow or day after tomorrow I'm gonna start with the Emil method. What I'm doing exactly on the Emil method, and you know, in between training updates and stuff like that, you're probably gonna find that on my Patreon for those who are interested in the more in-depth progression. And I'm gonna definitely update on the main channel as well after the 30 days are completed. Yeah, looking forward to this experiment. Gonna be interesting. See you soon. Stay strong and healthy. Bye.